The thing we're going to learn now is how to use audio effects. So you've been having fun, I hope, trying out the different audio clips. Now we're going to add audio effects, which we saw here in the browser under categories. It's the fourth category, sounds, drums, instrument, audio effects. And I'm only going to show you a few of these audio effects. Now, if you have already, yeah, it's the fourth category. If you're already used to this, you've already got experience with it, go and explore the rest of Ableton's audio effects because there are so many, right? But for today's purposes, let's just focus on a few which have the most dramatic impact. The first one, I'm going to take an auto filter. Now, if I click on the auto filter, which is the third audio effect, if I click on the triangle, there are many presets. These are pre-programmed auto filters, and they can do different things. Like, for example, one will make the bandpass spin, whatever that means. One will make crashing waves. Wow, that sounds exciting. So you can try out these presets, but I want to show you the principle of how it works first. So let's take this drum loop. If I want to solo the drum loop, which button should I press? The one which says correct, the one which says S. So I'm only listening to the drum loop now. So I'm going to take the auto filter, not one of the presets. I'm going to take the auto filter from the top, which means it's plain auto filter, and I'm going to drag it onto the drums channel. See, I drag it onto the drums channel, and tada, it shows me I have an auto filter here. Now, nothing is happening. But if I change the frequency, and by the way, on your notes, I left a space so that you can write in. If I change the frequency, which is this top knob here, in the center column, there's this knob here called freak. You go to the auto filter here, you drag it into your drum loop, drag it onto your drum channel. Which one? You drag it onto, see, you have a channel with drums. So I have a channel with drums, goes, drag it on, and the auto filter is here. Now, as I play it and I change the frequency, what is happening to the sound? Can turn up the volume on the mixer. So now I can make it more muffled. I can make it brighter. There's a second thing called resonance. Resonance makes one of the frequencies resonate more. It will be the last frequency. So when I change the frequency and the resonance is up, see, if my resonance is up, as I change the frequency, there'll be one frequency that resonates. So that is just two of the settings, the frequency and the resonance. So I give you a few seconds to take down notes. What happens when you change the frequency? What happens when you change the resonance? Use your own words to describe. Now I'm going to delete this auto filter. How do I do it? I just click on it and I right click, delete. Okay, no more auto filter. I'm going to try something else. Let's go down to EQ3. EQ3, I'm going to drag the EQ3 onto my drum loop. EQ3 has 3 EQs. Wow, so surprising. What happens when I switch off the low? Switch off the low. Popular DJ trick, right? What happens if I switch off the H or high? Muffle. What if I switch off the M for the medium? Sounds weird, that's all. So this way I can play with the sound, right? The whole beat sounds like this. With the L, with the low switched off, with the high switched off, I am now going to delete the EQ tree. I'm now going to try a delay. Okay, so from E, I move up to D. It's all alphabetical, by the way. I'm going to take D for delay. I'm going to drag it onto the same drum loop. Now, delay. It's added in something that sounds like an echo. It's delaying little parts of it. When you look at these two columns on the left, these are actually the speed of your echoes or speed of your delay. So the longer the number, the longer it takes for the delay to happen. So let's make it a shorter number. Or what about longer? Longer, I can't even tell. By the way, this also works with a bass. I'm going to solo my bass. So I go to my bass instead and I solo it. S for solo. I'm going to drag a delay onto my bass. Wow, sounds really messy, right? There's this control at the bottom right corner of most of the effects. Here is a secret for using audio effects. Most of them in the bottom right corner have this thing called dry and wet. So when you change the dry and wet to more dry, you drag it down to more dry, you will hear more of the original sound. But if you make it more wet, you will hear more of the effect. See, dry is less, hardly hear anything at all. Wet means you hear more. And feedback is the number of times it comes back. More feedback. Less feedback means less times it comes back. The last one I will show you is the reverb. Okay, let me delete this delay. And the last one I'll show you is the reverb. And I'm going to choose one of the different kinds. See, there's different halls and rooms and specials. Let's hear what a room would sound like. I'll just drop in a room. Wow, so much, right? Again, here is the dry wet. You see the dry wet at the top, bottom right? There's always a dry wet. Better? So dry wet is how many percent of the original sound versus how many percent of the effects. That's a room. What if I delete this and instead of a room, I put in a hall, like a cathedral? I make sure the dry wet is not too much. So this makes it sound like now it's in a cathedral, one of those giant European church thing, right? Or you can make it sound like it's in a gymnasium or a factory or all kinds of things. So my tip for reverb is have a bit more towards the dry than towards the wet. Otherwise, you will hear just boom, 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 boom. Okay, just you want it to have the original sound as well. So have more of the dry and less of the wet. But these are different effects, and as you can see, there's like 10 times the number. If you just try a few, okay, try a few and then note what they can do in your parent in this little 1, 2, and 3 on your notes. Have fun, explore. Remember, the dry and wet in the bottom right corner, that's the one which helps to keep it from going crazy.